Continuing our series of conversations here on 207 with candidates for major office in Maine. With us tonight, the independent candidate for governor on the ballot, Sam Hunkler. Thank you for coming in. Good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
You are a family doctor by trade, by occupation. What experience do you have in government?
None. No government. No, and I think that's what we need. We need a fresh voice. We need a fresh outlook on things, and that's what I'm bringing. I'm not a politician.
If someone came to your medical office and applied for a job and you asked, well, what experience do you have in the medical field? And that person said, none. Would you hire that person?
No, it's a little bit different, but I mean, I'm going to have a learning curve. There's no doubt about that. But if Donald Trump could run this country, he was never a politician, never run for office. I mean, I believe I can do Maine. I can be the governor of Maine.
Do you think Donald Trump did a good job?
In some things, there are things he did do well, some things he didn't do well, but I don't think that's because of his inexperience. It was more about his personality.
It's a demanding job, though. You're at the top of state government, a budget of hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, thousands of employees, activities that touch the lives of every single Mainer. Why do you think that with no experience in this field, you're the best person in a state of 1.3 million people to have the job?
What experience did Jim Longley have?
What experience? He was governor for one term back in the 1970s.
Yes. And what experience did Angus King have in government? He was a talk show person. You know, Paula Page had experience as a mayor of a city.
He was mayor of Waterville. Angus King had worked for a United States senator.
Okay, yes, but he was not.
Jim Longley had been the head of a commission that looked into the operations of state government.
Yes, but working for somebody and being that person is very different.
If you're elected, what would be your number one priority?
My number one priority is children and their future. And everything we do in government should be looked at through that lens, because if it's not good for children, if it's not good for their future, we should not be doing it. I think that's one place where we can probably find common ground.
So what is a program that you think ought to be introduced, or a program that ought to be improved, expanded, whatever? What specifically would you do to help kids in Maine?
So if you think about children, you think about food security, you think about stable housing, you think about health care, you think about education, and those are all things that impact children. One of the things I would love to see us do is make our schools more of community centers, especially in rural Maine, where we bring elderly into schools. I would love to see us have a program where we now, the kids now get free lunch and free breakfast. I'd love to see the elderly come in for free lunches, to be part of that community. I'd love to see us have daycare in schools so we can see what children need at a very young age, because a lot of the issues start very, very young for children, and we don't know what's going on until they get to school. But we need to be able to monitor them, and I think that would be the place to start. We have to look at more prevention in healthcare and mental health, and I think we need to start very young.
All of those programs are well-intentioned. They do cost money. Would you raise taxes to pay for them, or would you cut spending in other areas?
I want to see how we do what we're doing in state government now. I'm a very frugal person, and I hate waste. And so the first thing I would do is, where are we spending our money, and where can we maybe cut corners or decrease our expenses? And how accountable are we to all this money, this federal money that's been coming in? It's going out, but how accountable is it? There's a lot of waste there.
Well, most of the money that is spent in state government either goes towards education or towards health and human services.
Yes,
it sounds as though those aren't areas that you wouldn't want to cut.
Well, I think we can make it more efficient. And I think that I would actually love to see us put more of our resources into communities, directly into communities, and there be less from the top down. I think we need to start building from the bottom up. We need to get people involved. People need to start taking more responsibility for our government and for our communities, rather than have somebody at the top dictate how that's done and with mandates, because it's not working. We need to do something different.
You said to me before we started this interview that one of the things that frustrates you is that there are so many people in Maine who don't even know you're running for governor.
That's true.
What does that say about your candidacy just a few weeks away from Election Day?
That says something about our process. That's not about my candidacy, it's about our process. I have not been getting media attention. This race has been about Janet Mills and Paula Page for 4 years. Okay, and so I haven't been on the radar. And even when I got on the ballot, this spring, I mean, I wasn't in any early polls. So
does it to some degree though reflect the nature of your candidacy? For instance, just now, before we started, I was looking on your website at your calendar for the month of November, leading up to Election Day, November 8th. There wasn't a single event on there.
That's true, but there will be more coming.
That doesn't sound though like to be fair, that does not sound like an organized, vigorous campaign. If you, in the month of November, have no events.
Okay, you have to realize that I'm doing this grassroots. I'm doing it all by myself. I don't have a campaign manager. I don't have a media person. And I'm seeing if it can be done the way I'm doing it, because people want something different. I believe they want to go back to grassroots. They want somebody who's real in there. And I'm a real person. And I'm doing it differently. I'm trying to keep money out of it, because we know money corrupts. If you give me $1,000 for my campaign, you don't think I'm going to think about that when an issue comes up that involves you? Money corrupts. We know that. And so I'm trying to keep that out of the equation. And yes, I'm a newbie, absolutely. But there are so many people out there who are so disgusted, like myself, at the way things are. And I said, I'm either going to jump in or I'm going to drop out. And so here I jumped in. And yes, I'm naive, and I'm not doing it the way most people do it. But people are wanting something different, and the people that find out about me get excited about me.
We've got to let that be the last word. Sam Hunkler, independent candidate for governor. Appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you would like to find out more about Sam Hunkler's campaign, just head to the 207 section of our News Center Maine website. And don't go away. We will be back right after this.